Hi there. So a teammate of mine from Clicked asked me to give her a hand with a flow that allowed her to assign a task not only to one particular user, but to all the users in a particular queue, which posed a really interesting problem that I hadn't encountered before, but this is what I ended up with. So this is a very basic record-triggered flow, and the entry conditions are pretty simple and can be modified to your particular use case. I wanted to make it an AND formula where the record owner ID actually equals the ID number of the queue in particular that I wanted to assign the task to. And in this case, I wanted to plug in a trigger where I would put the title of the person on the lead as test. And just for testing purposes, I did have the flow run every time a record is updated and meets the condition requirements. But again, your use case will vary, so adjust accordingly. So this is set to run immediately. The first thing I'm going to need to do is get the queue information with a get records element. In order to do that, I have to query the QS object, and I'm looking for the queue ID equals, and then I'm plugging in that same ID that I had in the entry conditions into this get records element. We're only storing the first record because ideally there's only one queue with that value in Salesforce. And then what I needed to do was use an action element to create a task. Now make sure when you're choosing this in the action element that it's the quick action for new task. Otherwise, it's not going to work correctly. You need the assign to ID, and this actually comes from the get records element I used earlier in the flow. The related record ID is the S record ID, which triggered this flow. And then I create a real quick text template, which will just show that it worked correctly when I execute the flow. So let's see this in action. I have a new record here for Sally Seashells. It is already assigned to the fundraising team as an owner. That is the name of the queue that I used for this example. And I'm going to go ahead and set her title to test, which was one of the entry conditions, and click save. Now I am a member of this queue, so I can easily show you that the task has created automatically for me, but now I'm going to need to show you from the other member of the queue in this example. Here I'm logged in as Marco Forster, and for some reason it's showing up in Salesforce Classic as opposed to Lightning. But what I did was I searched the activities for leads, and what I found was the exact Sally Seashells assigned item. If I click on it, it's assigned to the team, and it has the exact same subject and everything necessary for the task. So as this other user, I am also able to see this task. And that's, in short, how I was able to get this flow to work correctly for my teammate.